Hello, everybody, and welcome to Atheist Sunday School, your one-stop shop for everything atheist, Sunday, and school. And boy, do we have a show for you today.
Today, we're going into the second book of Psalms.
Yes, the second book of Psalms. We have a couple things to do before we get there.
Yes, we do. We
have the 100-point show first. Let's do that.
Okay, let's do the 100-point show.
All right. And as is tradition,
you have one prepared already, and I don't.
Yeah, that's how this show goes. All right. So, the work of which mythicist author was viewed as useful to Lenin in his fight against religion?
I'm gonna say Karl Marx.
I'm sorry, it's not Karl Marx.
Excuse me. Karl Marx was an author, and he was a scholar.
It wasn't the work.
And he didn't believe in Jesus. He was Jewish, right? So, like,
the answer,
he believes that Jesus is a myth, which makes Karl Marx a mythicist author.
Nostradamus.
The answer is Arthur Drews.
Arthur Drews.
I would have never got any
Yeah,
of that.
he read Drews' work, and he's like, this is super useful to my cause. So, yeah.
Wow. All right. Well,
have you not come up with one? Oh, no.
Okay, I got one for you. Sarah was how many years old when she gave birth? In the Bible. Genesis.
Ooh, oh man, forgot. Was it like they were old?
Gotta look
I
the
think.
answer up.
Yeah, I gotta look the answer up.
She was old, I think. Was she like in her 70s or something? 80s?
It's like 127.
Was it 100 something? I remember them being old. Everyone was really old back then.
Ugh, I'm trying to find it.
Oh my God.
There's so much in the Bible.
You could always Google it.
You know, I could Google it.
But do you trust Google?
Because this is just dead
Sarah
air now.
Lived 127 years.
Okay.
Seriously?
Lived.
Yes, she lived.
I got her life correct. I didn't get her. She didn't die right after that in childbirth, obviously. So I can't have gotten your question correct. But I did get her age correct? That's bizarre.
Okay. Well,
so sad.
It appears that they don't really give a year
All right, then,
for Sarah. But we know that Abraham was 100 years old.
That's good.
Okay.
I have a 100-point question real quick.
Oh, okay.
All right. Which Pokemon has a second form that's really uncreatively named and a third form that you would assume would have a pretty similar level of uncreativity? How's that? That's really bad.
Fucking Giratina?
No, man. It's got evolutions. That's the question.
Yeah,
What Pokemon has a second form that the key is second, like the number 2,
Yeah.
and it has an uncreative third name?
It's the Aegislash line.
Nah, it's Porygon.
Onedge, Dual Blade.
Okay,
I
fine.
was just going to do original Pokemon. I thought that
Fair enough. Porygon, yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. Porygon.
They should have
Also
named it
known as
Porygon.
Polygon.
Yeah. 3. They have a Z. Why'd they call it Z?
I don't know.
Dragon
I went
Ball
from 2 to Z.
Yep, that's... They say
Because
it's
an
glitch.
error.
Yeah, they say
Anyways,
it's an error.
and because it is the start of the month, and because it is Atheist Sunday School, we also have a t-shirt giveaway. This is a monthly t-shirt giveaway. If you would like to be included in these t-shirt giveaways, then you can become a patron of $10 or more, and you can get a free shirt.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Maybe. Unless it lands on Landon again.
Yeah, I mean, we've sent so many shirts to Landon. Like, it's not rigged. We swear. They're all equivalent.
This is just a Streamlabs app.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything special.
Yeah.
I click a button that says spin the wheel.
Yeah. Did you spin the wheel?
No, I'm ready when you say
Yeah,
Spin the
go ahead.
wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Okay, the wheel is spinning.
Great.
Spinning. Oh, great.
Tell us whoever it lands on.
Ellis.
Ellis, you win.
You're gonna be getting a shirt. Does he have a Behold shirt yet?
I don't know.
Huh. Well, we'll have to.
Well, hey, Ellis was praying in the comments.
You
That's
got
good
it,
stuff.
man.
Ellis just gave us proof that prayer works.
Yes, that is proof right
Yeah,
there.
because RNG.
It's not as if
RNG's
statistics.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna
So-
write that one down.
Well, so how far are we from that 666 mark in the donation drive?
We are at 470.
470.
Yes.
If you would like to donate to the donation drive, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Once we hit 666, we're gonna try and do some alchemy.
Good old alchemy.
Yep.
Yeah. Other announcements. Other announcements. I am very close to being done with the research portion for the Council of Constantinople video. I have like 20 more pages to read through of various books. So I'm very close. Script writing is probably going to start this week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a long haul. Seriously. I'm covering like everything leading up to it.
How long do you think it's going to be?
Uh
You're usually pretty.
It'll be
pretty accurate
quite
about
long.
that.
It'll probably be around, I'm guessing 20 minutes, but I'm not.
Cool. Yeah, you're always low on your estimates. It's usually been another 10.
Yeah,
after
it's
the-
gonna be a 30-minute long video.
Probably.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, you can all look forward to that. We're also going to eventually do our Kingdoms review.
Yeah.
He wants the Platonic t-shirt, by the way.
Sure, we can send that right over.
Okay, yeah, you got it. Platonic form of the T-shirt.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, book 2 of the Book of Psalms.
Yes. What translation do you have there, Ruben?
I have the King James Version of the Bible.
I have the English Standard Version of the Bible.
We also have the Hebrew Bible, a translation with commentary by Robert Alter.
We also have the Holy Scriptures, according to some Jews.
We also have the New King James Version of the Bible.
We have Erdman's commentary on the Bible.
We also have the Oxford Companion to the Bible.
And we have the New Testament survey from the New Interpreter's Bible.
Yeah, and we have
quite a lot of books here.
translation of Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, we're not going to need that. We have The Origins of Biblical Monotheism by Mark S. Smith, which we will be using today.
We also have On the Book of Psalms by Sarna, Lawrence's favorite book.
He doesn't even cover these, so we're not going to need it. We're not going to need them anyways. We got Psalms Old and New from Ben Witherington III. We're also going to be using that one today.
Okay, excellent. Well, why don't I get into it? Psalm 42.
Well, we should probably introduce this second book of Psalms.
Okay.
I also would like to
ahead.
say today's reading has some nice numbers that we've not had before, usually. 42 and 47 don't get listed very often for us. Interesting that, it's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe kind of joke for 42. And
42?
47's my favorite number, arbitrarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
What
So you've
what a
got
day.
these-
What a monumentous
these
day
are
this
great
is.
Meaning-
Happy New Year.
Of life, universe, and everything. 42.
All right. So here's some stuff about the second book of Psalms. So, we've been reading through a lot of these, and so many of them are attributed to David, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these are attributed to Korahites.
Like the followers of Korah and
Well, like the
Dathan.
like from Korah's rebellion. But
Okay.
they were a Levitical sect, I guess. They were, sons of Levi and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the end of this book, I think it's 72. That's the last psalm of the second Psalter. That one ends by saying something along the lines of like, "This is the last psalm of David," something like that. But that's obviously not true because it goes on in the next 3 parts to continually list David as the author of the psalm. So at least according,
They stopped caring.
at least according to Witherington, that the other ones were later additions, and this may have been an earlier book.
Well,
I'm not sure.
That's not necessarily
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
You could have the last Psalm of David placed
Yeah,
earlier.
definitely.
Like if it's the last Psalm that he wrote, right?
Yeah, something like that. So it's not really necessary for that, but that's at least according to him.
Yeah, it's pretty uncommon to see collections of poetry presented in like sequential order by publication or even writing.
Sure. And here's a good amount of other stuff about this Psalter. So one of the interesting things is in the first book of Psalms, there was a lot of the time when they used God, the word would be Yahweh. They were using Yahweh. This one, interestingly, uses Elohim a lot. So this is often referred to as in a lowest production. Yeah, and then there are some there's some Asaph psalms as well. Actually, no, that comes after. I don't even know. But either way, that's pretty much all the stuff we have to cover for the second book of Psalms.
Okay, then let's get into it. Psalm 42.
Yes.
To the chief musician, a maskil for the sons of Korah. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. My soul thirsteth for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my meat day and night, while they continually say unto me, Where is thy God? When I remember these things, I pour out my soul in me. For I had gone with the multitude. I went with them to the house of God with the voice of joy and praise, with a multitude that kept holy day. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted in me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him for the help of his countenance. O my God, my soul is cast down within me. Therefore will I remember thee from the land of Jordan, and of the Hermonites, from the hill Mizar. Deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy waterspouts. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. Yet the Lord will command his loving kindness in the daytime, and in the night his song shall be with me, and my prayer unto the God of my life. I will say unto God, my rock, why hast thou forgotten me? Why go I mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? As with a sword in my bones, mine enemies reproach me. While they say daily unto me, Where is thy God? Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise him, who is the health of my countenance and my God.
So there is a lot of pretty interesting stuff about this psalm and then the next one also.
Yeah, for one thing, it's a Korah height.
Yeah.
psalm.
That's definitely one of the things. But something I found really interesting was that, at least according to Witherington and all the scholars he cites, the two psalms that are in here listed as individual laments and not really discussed that much. So these two, 42 and 43, are actually together in some manuscripts, and it's not hard to see why. And once we read through the next one, we're going to see a lot of similarities. Like there are, for example, 42:9 is the exact same as 43:3. And really the only thing that's super unique about this is 43:1 through 2 and 4 are like really the only unique thing, but these do kind of go together, and we can actually divide it by similar like endings to the stanzas, and they all end with pretty much the same thing. So in 42:5, 11, and then in 43:5. They pretty much end those all the same way. So I'm gonna actually pull up something here from Witherington. It's actually
I mean,
I
that
thought
would
it was
be
pretty
more
interesting.
telling of a single psalm, right?
yeah. But like either way, it doesn't really matter. He actually goes over the divisions of this section, really the entire Bible. And I found this pretty interesting. If I can just find it, that'd be great. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So it needs to be remembered that the later Christian division into chapters and verses in the Bible we owe to the work of Archbishop Stephen Langton of Canterbury, and there is nothing inspired or original about his divisions.
Except in the Canterbury Tales.
But this is not the entire story. Clearly enough, at least by the time the Septuagint was produced, Psalms 42 and 43 had already been divided up by editors, and a Davidic header had been added to Psalm 43 to make it distinct from the previous psalm. Perhaps as this is a horrible name, by the way. Golden Gay suggests what has happened here is that Psalm 43 has been separated from Psalm 42 to facilitate liturgical use, as seems to have happened to Psalms 9 through 10, if you guys remember when we covered those. The alternative is Psalm 43 was composed to accompany Psalm 42, but in either case, they belong together.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Why don't you read Psalm 43?
You know what? I will read Psalm 43. And if you guys are enjoying the stream so far, drop a like,
Subscribe.
comment, all those great stuff that helps with engagement.
Well,
and-
technically, if they comment right now, they're chatting, not commenting.
Okay, fine. Chat. Do that.
Yeah.
We like to
Chat.
see people chat. You know, we should have like, share, sub, and chat.
It's too many things.
And then a whole bunch of other stuff.
We could have like a big pink one that says chat that like flashes between pink and like bright green.
Yeah,
It
I'll
would
get
be-
right on making that awful monstrosity.
It would be terrible.
All right, well, anyways,
Wonderful.
let's I'm going to just go ahead and read Psalm 43.
Yeah, why don't you hop in there?
Vindicate me, O God, and defend my cause against an ungodly people. From the deceitful and unjust man, deliver me. For you are the God in whom I take refuge. Why have you rejected me? Why do I go about mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy hill and to your dwelling. Then I will go to the altar of God, to God my exceeding joy, and I will praise you with the lyre. O God, my God, why are you cast down? Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me? Hope in God, for I shall again praise him, my salvation and my God.
So in verse 3, send forth your life and truth is they that will guide me. They will bring me to your holy mountain. Alter says that this line picks up the idea from Psalm 42 that the speaker had been exiled from Zion.
Yeah, that is an idea. And actually Witherington actually goes over that. So here's what he says about this. This psalm may chronicle a crisis in the life of a worship leader. This is understandable if, as some scholars think, the several references to being distant from the temple suggest that the man is in exile. He is over Jordan. He is far from where he used to worship. This may be correct, but on the other hand, Krauss says there is no real indication the person is in exile. Rather, he seems to be at the sources of the Jordan River, in the mountains in the north, near Mount Hermon, and unable to get back to Jerusalem. Notice that the solution to the problem is not viewed as a retreat where one can be alone, but rather an advance to the worship place where one can join the congregation, play one's lyre, and sing.
Yes. All right. Also, the "Oh God, my God" part.
Sure.
Alter says It's Elohim Elohe. It says it appears with some frequency in the second book of Psalms because Yahweh has been editorially replaced by Elohim.
That's an interesting perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well,
either way.
Yep.
That's actually that was a very short psalm, by the way. So
Yep.
that was the end of Psalm 43, 5 verses. That's all that it was given.
That's a very, very short psalm.
It really is.
Really not even long enough to say anything about.
There's really not much more to say.
But if you're enjoying the stream so far,
drop a like, all that good
all
stuff.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we advance into Psalm 44.
Yes, Psalm 44.
To the chief musician for the sons of Korah, a maskil. We have heard with our ears, O God, our fathers have told us what work thou didst in their days, in the times of old. How thou didst drive out the heathen with thy hand, and plantedst them. How thou didst afflict the people and cast them out. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but thy right hand and thine arm and the light of thy countenance, because thou hadst a favor unto them. Thou art my king, O God. Command deliverances for Jacob. What is that a reference to?
For Israel.
Right, because Jacob was renamed
Israel, yeah.
Israel.
Yeah, good old Jacob. Let's go there.
Okay. Through thee we will push down our enemies. Through thy name we will tread them under that rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, neither shall my sword save me. But thou hast saved us from our enemies, and hast put them to shame that hated us. In God we
so let's
wait till I get to the Salah.
fine.
Okay. In God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Salah.
All right, so something very interesting. This is from Erdman's. The main issue regarding Psalm 44 is the sharp contrast, some would even call it a contradiction, between verses 1 through 8 and verses 9 through 16. This issue can be illustrated by the following examples. Quote, you with your own hand drove out the nations, in verse 2, and you have saved us from our foes, in verse 7, which seem to contradict, quote, you have rejected us and abashed us, I don't know, verse 9. On the one hand, God is credited for saving actions towards his people, and on the other, he is reproached for casting them off and humiliating them.
All right.
I just thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah. But thou hast cast off and put us to shame, and goest not forth with our armies. Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy, and they which hate us spoil for themselves. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen. Thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth for their price. Thou markest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and avenger. All this is come upon us, yet we have not forgotten thee, neither have we dealt falsely in thy covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from thy way. Thou hast sore broken us in the place of dragons, and covered us with the shadow of death. Where's the place of dragons?
So That's verse
19.
19, yeah. Yeah. Our heart has not failed, nor have our footsteps strayed from your path, though you thrust us down to the sea monster's place. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, more like Leviathan than...
Yeah, this is an allusion to the Canaanite cosmogonic, I think that's how you say it. Yeah. Myth of a primordial sea monster conquered by a divine adversary, then forever imprisoned in the seabed.
Okay.
Now there's a quite, once you finish this psalm, I have a few things to read from Witherington. So
Okay, then I'll finish this psalm. If we have forgotten the name of our God or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Yea, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for thy mercy's sake.
yeah, so this entire psalm is really about theodicy.
Well, it's like 3 sections, right? First, they start off saying, like, how they've heard all these wonderful things about God from their ancestors. Then they, like, decry God for not having delivered on those wonderful things.
Yeah.
And then they demand that he delivers on those things.
Yeah. And the thing is, Witherington says, like, God's really good at delivering on these things. And when I read that, I was like, nah, he's not like that at all. I don't know if we're reading the same Bible. So I'm going to pull up some pretty interesting views on God. And, I mentioned that it was already about, theodicy in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pull up some specific examples that I thought were neat.
Define theodicy.
It is basically like theology about the problem of evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which isn't a problem if you watch my video.
Yeah, if you have a certain view of God. So in a sudden turn in the tenor of the psalm in verses 9 through 12, the psalmist makes clear that, quote, that was when and this is now. The adversative particle in verse 9, op, which apparently means yet, makes clear the dramatic disjunction. It, quote, is exactly Yahweh's military effectiveness that is celebrated in verses 1 through 8, and Yahweh's military failure that is voiced in verses 9 through 16. The facts on the ground now seem to be that God no longer goes into battle with Israel's armies. And as texts like Joshua 7, the debacle at Ai, I think that's how it's pronounced still, or 1 Samuel 4, the defeat by the Philistines, or Lamentations 3, the defeat by the Babylonians, indicate when Israel is left to its own devices, disastrous defeat is the outcome. This is said to be the outcome one should expect if Israel has breached the covenant. But the psalmist says, no way. He is not claiming sinlessness. He is claiming basic loyalty to Yahweh and the covenant. So he thinks he's, doing good enough. Because if we remember, there were plenty of dudes who, broke covenant stuff, and they still got help.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah. So we can go into Psalm 45 then.
Oh,
and there's.
Do you hear something?
Oh, I do. It's real
I
weird.
hear something.
Is that my tinnitus acting up?
Yeah, it's your tinnitus.
That's what's happening. You're right.
Chris.
Behold, I am your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I want to let all you heathens and sinners know that I support this wonderful episode of Atheist Sunday School. Lawrence and Reuben try their very best to bring you the true glory of the Bible, and they need your help. They have provided links to their Patreon page and other social media just for you. Once again, my name is Jesus Christ, and this is Milwaukee Atheists. The Lord is with them. God bless.
Wow. Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus, that is so nice of you.
Jesus is never this nice to any
the
other
best,
atheist.
the best God out there. That's you, buddy.
Ooh, yeah. Who's a good God? Ooh.
I know you got quite a lot of stuff going on there, Ruben, but
Yeah. Hold on.
yeah, we got a lot of commentary pulled up for this one because it's actually really cool. Okay. All right, you good there?
Yep.
You almost ready?
Yep.
All right, fantastic. So let's hop right into Psalm 45. Now, once we get there, I'll let you know when to look through this one. This is specifically about the title Elohim.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Psalm 45. To the choir master, according to the lilies.
Whoa, hold on. Before you get into that,
Sure.
in the case of Psalm 45, a distinction has to be made between the original meaning of the psalm and the history of its interpretation, especially in the Jewish and Christian traditions. Psalm 45 is unique in being a profane royal wedding song. It also, in this context, that part of the superscript, a love song, the expression according to the lilies, which is probably an indication of the melody to which the psalm was sung and how it should be interpreted. However, in the Jewish and Christian traditions, the psalm was read allegorically and interpreted in a messianic way. In Hebrews 1:8-9, the psalm is applied directly to Jesus. But of the Son, he says, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever." The ancient Christian church considered the relationship portrayed between the king and his bride in Psalm 45 as a reflection of the relationship that exists between Christ and his church. However, the psalm itself does not provide any indication of such an allegorical meaning.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot, especially for psalms.
Yes.
A maskil of the sons of Korah, a love song. My heart overflows with a pleasing theme. I address my verses to the king. My tongue is like the pen of a ready scribe. You are the most handsome of the sons of men. Grace is poured upon your lips. Therefore, God has blessed you forever.
So this psalm is different than all other psalms in the biblical canon because it starts off, my heart is astir with a goodly word. It says, only here do we have a poet who begins by celebrating his own art, a gesture that might well be appropriate for a court poet. He announces at the outset that his tongue is like the pen of a rapid that is skilled. So that's different.
Yeah, that is different. Although my tongue is like the pen of a ready scribe makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are the most handsome of the sons of men. Grace is poured upon your lips. Therefore, God has blessed you forever. Gird your sword on your thigh, O mighty one, in your splendor and majesty. In your majesty, ride out victoriously for the cause of truth and meekness and righteousness. Let your right hand teach you awesome deeds.
So it goes on to some military language.
Mm-hmm.
Alter says, from loveliness and grace, the poem quickly moves on to military might, something the kings of the ancient Near East proverbially needed to exercise in order to maintain securely the grandeur of their courts, even in times of peace, such as the wedding occasion for this poem.
Yes. Where the hell was I? Yeah, awesome deeds. Your arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies. The peoples fall under you. Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of your kingdom is a scepter of uprightness. You have loved righteously and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of gladness beyond your companions. This is that we got a lot of stuff to talk about here.
Right. So we've got to keep in mind that this is a royal wedding psalm.
Yes.
Eerdmans says about it, the poet gives an idealized picture of the king, concentrating on his personal beauty in verse 2, his enduring kingship, his military power, and his judicial role, especially as defender of justice. This eulogy might even give the impression that the king is deified. In verse 6, the king is actually addressed as Elohim, or God, and ascribed divine attributes, glory and majesty in verse 3. The entire section should, however, be interpreted within the broad theological context of the Davidic kingship. There is no proof in this text or in any other Old Testament text of the deification of the Israelite or Judean monarchs, as is the case in some ancient Near East civilizations. For example, Egypt, where the king was deified. The Judean king was seen as the representative of God, and there was an intimate relationship between God and the king. He was even seen as the adopted son of God. Check Psalm 2, verse 7. But there was no question of deification. This fact is also brought to the fore in Psalm 45, where the praise section is framed by the expressions, "Therefore God has blessed you," and "Therefore God has anointed you." These phrases state explicitly that the king is divinely approved and that the Lord is his God. In this sense, the psalm and their royal wedding, which is celebrated in the Song of the Psalm, are not profane but have a theological basis.
Yeah, but you can totally see why they would be viewed as profane.
Yes.
So and I'm going to be citing Mark S. Smith here, in a section where he's talking about, that elevated kind of exalted language for people. He says this. Many scholars have taken Psalm 45:7 as evidence for the royal theology of the king as divine, Elohim. Your throne, O divine son, is forever and ever. He cites those as examples, and also Elohim. The versions generally render the syntax in this manner. Such ambiguity may be as old as the text, and the interpretation of Elohim as God perhaps contributed to the survival of such an otherwise bald biblical reference to the king's divinity. Criticism of this view has been voiced. The lack of clear parallels to the king as Elohim has represented a major impediment, according to J. Emerton and P. Mosca. The muted reflex of the notion in Zechariah may reflect, however, the background of a high royal theology which applied Elohim to the monarch. The description of the king as Elohim in Ezekiel 28:14 may represent a polemic against this notion of the monarchy. H.J. Krauss also compares 2 Samuel 14:17, 20, and 20, where David's ability to judge makes him, quote, like the angel of God. C.F. Whitley offers a further argument for the king as Elohim by noting points of contact between Psalms 89 and 45:7-8. And now he's quoting Whitley. Psalm 89 provides an instructive comparison with Psalm 45:7-8. Thus, in Psalm 89, Yahweh has chosen David from amongst the people and anointed him with holy oil. So in Psalm 45:8, we read, Elohim anointed thee with the oil of gladness above thy companions. Again, in Psalm 89, the Messiah's throne and that of his seed shall endure as long as the sun and moon. Similarly, in Psalm 45:7, we find your throne, Elohim, is forever and ever. Such comparisons indicate that the Elohim of Psalm 45:7 and the Davidic figure of Psalm 89 are not only similar but identifiable. So I thought that was some very interesting stuff. And then Mark S. Smith concludes here. In conclusion, interpreting Elohim for the king in Psalm 45:7 is certainly debatable but plausible on the basis of the versional support, the basic intelligibility of the syntax, the sense of the idea within ancient Israel, perhaps as a reflex of its West Semitic Israelite heritage, and its support among many modern commentators.
Wow.
Quite a lot of stuff there.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, but I thought it was super interesting, the elevated position that is used for David in this psalm.
Yes. It is. What verse are you on?
That was where we stopped. That was 45:7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that anymore, I guess. All right. I'm going to continue then.
Yes.
Therefore your God has anointed you with the oil of gladness beyond your companions. Your robes are all fragrant with myrrh and aloes and cassia?
Cassia.
What is that?
Probably some fragrant herb.
Sure. From ivory palaces, stringed instruments make you glad. Daughters of kings are among your ladies of honor.
So, Alter says, lutes gladden you, for stringed instruments make you glad. He says the Masoretic text means many from, but minium, lutes, with the support of one ancient witness, makes the otherwise enigmatic verse entirely intelligible. So, apparently the Masoretic text says, from gladdened you.
Yes, daughters of kings are among your ladies of honor. At your right hand stands the queen in gold of Ophir.
So,
of course, the place where you get a lot of good stuff, Ophir.
yes, instead of queen, Alter says consort. And he says the Hebrew shagal is probably an Akkadian loanword. Other features of the poem's style are archaic, and some commentators, given the wedding with a Tyrian princess, see verse 13, have been tempted to see the psalm as a product of Solomon's court.
Yeah, that would make some sense. I see that.
He had a lot of weddings.
Yeah, he did. Hear, O daughter, and consider and incline your ear. Forget your people and your father's house, and the king will desire your beauty, since he is your Lord. Bow to him. The people of Tyre will seek your favor with gifts, the richest of the people. All glorious is the princess in her chamber, with robes interwoven with gold.
So this is different. Alter says, all the princess's treasure is pearls, filigree of gold her raiment. He says, the Masoretic text reads literally, all the princess's treasure is inward, which Jewish tradition has taken as a slogan for the virtuous wife's conjugal modesty.
She has a good personality.
Yeah, she's a nice person.
But the immediately following word has a superfluous mem at the beginning. If one moves it back to the end of the previous word and inserts a second nun for the mem in the middle of the word instead of penema, inward, the consonantal text would read penim, pearls, which makes more sense and a much better parallelism. There's also a syntactic problem here because princess would have to be a vocative, all the treasure princess, but because the royal bride is spoken of in the third person in the last half of the verse, the translation does not represent the vocative.
Yeah, this is, there's a lot of stuff that this psalm could be referring to. It could mean. But let's finish it off and then we can talk about it.
Yes.
All glorious is the princess in her chamber, with robes interwoven with gold. In many colored robes she is led to the king, with her virgin companions following behind her. With joy and gladness they are led along as they enter the palace of the king. In place of your fathers shall be your sons. You will make them princes in all the earth. I will cause your name to be remembered in all generations. Therefore, nations will praise you forever and ever. So this, I don't know, I'm getting, the bride is being Israel. That's what I'm getting.
The bride is a daughter of Tyre. Or Tyre. Verse 13.
The people of Tyre will seek your favor with gifts.
Oh. Daughter of Tyre, or Tyre. With tribute, the people's wealthy will court your favor.
Oh, yeah. So there's, that's so weird. Yeah, because I have in a footnote that it says daughter.
Also, the last strophe is directed to the king. It's a blessing for posterity.
I wonder if Witherington has anything on that, because that's interesting.
Yeah, because like the way that Alter framed it, it seems like the psalm was a celebration of a wedding between a king and a princess from Tyre.
Sure. Oh yeah, this is a weird one. I'm still looking through this. Might take a bit.
If you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, neighbors, homeless people, whoever you can. Let our congregation grow wide, and our influence will, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's got nothing on this one.
He's got nothing.
Nope.
Well, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wish there was more on that, because that's a very interesting verse.
I wish there was. But unfortunately there isn't. I'm taking it to mean daughter of Tyre.
Sure. I mean, Alter seems to have a pretty good translation, so yeah, we can probably go with that.
What verse was that again?
That was verse 12.
Verse 12. And the daughter of Tyre. Yeah.
Huh, weird. Yeah, and he doesn't even comment on that. That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Very strange.
What a shame.
Let's get into Psalm 46.
Yes, let's do that.
To the chief musician for the sons of Korah, a song upon Alamoth. Probably one of those instruments that we don't know.
The preposition seems to indicate that this is a musical instrument, but nothing more is known about it. Yeah.
Great.
Another unknown to the list
Yeah.
of musical instruments.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear.
Even though we were just told in the very last, or not the very last one, but the second to last psalm, that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Was second to last? It was a couple psalms ago, though. Yeah.
Therefore, will we not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof. Selah. There is a river, and the streams whereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacles of the Most High. I think that was Anselm who wrote the book, City of God.
That was Saint Augustine.
Augustine.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, man. All those ones that start with an A and they're saints. Augustine.
Augustine, Anselm,
Aquinas.
Athanasius.
Yeah, Athanasius,
Yeah.
Aquinas.
Yeah, a lot of them.
A lot of them. City of God. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her. And
by the way,
right
the
early.
word there, by the way, is Elyon.
Elyon. Elyon.
Yeah.
Okay. The heathen raged. The kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice. The earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah.
It's really interesting the difference in like the perspective here. As Erdman's notes, the second strophe, 46, 4-7, makes the same statement, but looks at it from a different angle. The menace is not portrayed as cosmic forces, however, but as a political disorder. The nations are in uproar. It is significant that the Hebrew uses the same verbs to describe both the cosmic disorder, mountains shake and waters roar, and the political disorder. In contrast to the raging waters at the end of the first strophe, at the beginning of the second strophe, we have the calm waters of the city of God. Paradise motif is used here in combination with the Zion tradition to express the calm peace, joy, and stability of the city of God.
Mm. Come, behold.
Behold!
The works of the Lord, what desolations he hath made in the earth. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow, and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of the military imagery comes back into play.
Yes.
As is tradition. And I thought...
Verse 10, be still and know that I am God.
Okay, is that like a command? Are you commanding me?
Yes, I'm commanding you.
Okay.
That's a command.
The warrior
I assume.
metaphor is used to describe the Lord. He conducts the war while his people are just observers. Here, however, an extra dimension is added to the holy war tradition, namely that the Lord is not a warrior who conducts war, but one who brings war to an end. In this sense, he is a peacemaker. Many scholars regard the year 701 BCE as the historical context for this psalm, when in a wondrous manner, the Lord delivered Jerusalem from the Assyrians' siege during the rule of King Hezekiah. I think you remember that, right? That miraculous victory.
Yeah.
They just kind of went away. However, the psalm was probably also used in the post-exilic period when the people of God were suffering to encourage them and restore their faith in the Lord. So yeah, could be either way.
Could be. So is there any commentary for that? Verse 10, be still and know that I am God. Is the language the same as in any of the previous books? I assume so.
For verse 10.
For verse 10.
Oh, for mine it would be different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for mine it would be verse 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this one. Kind of. So it's just about, so Alter has a let go and know that I am God. So this verb, let go, etymologically, it means to relax one's grip on something. Is somewhat surprising here. It might be an injunction to cease and desist from armed struggle, to unclench the warrior's fist. At this juncture, which is in effect the end of the poem, the eschatological triumphant God speaks directly, declaring his supremacy over all the world. The poem concludes by repeating the refrain, "The Lord of armies is with us, a fortress for us, Jacob's God."
Okay. Well, that's the end of Psalm 46.
Yeah, but that at least makes way more sense.
Yeah.
And then we can hop into this this final one for today.
Psalm 47.
Yes, Psalm 47.
Another short one for
Another
you.
short one, but there is a decent amount of commentary. So I can read it because it's very short. And as you all know, I can only read very short things. So I'm just going to get right through that. And then we can cover whatever commentary there is.
Yes.
To the choir master, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Clap your hands, all peoples. As the song goes. Oh, yeah.
Which one is it again?
No.
No.
Clap your hands,
All peoples. Thanks. Amazing. Shout to God with loud songs of joy. Woohoo!
We don't have a shout on a stick. Sorry.
No, but we do have the laugh track. That's
Yeah,
the closest thing.
Closest thing. Isn't that funny that we do?
Yes.
Great. Move on.
Sure.
Oh my God. For the Lord, the Most High, is to be feared, a great king over all the earth.
So, Alter has some stuff to say.
I'm sure he does.
The Hebrew Elyon is adjectival here, and so is translated as Most High, rather than representative as the name for God. This is one of several psalms that take their subject, the celebration of God's kingship.
So wait, hold on. If it's being used as an adjective, shouldn't it be like highest?
I guess, but Most High is still highest,
I know.
right? But, yeah.
All right then. Okay, sorry. Go on.
Ugh. In the first half of the poem, up to the Salah that marks the end of verse 5, God's kingship is seen as manifested in his granting triumph to Israel over its enemies, a common theme in Psalms. In the second half of the poem, the ceremonial flourishes of acclaim for the divine king are explicitly invoked, and God is imagined seated on a throne. Since Sigmund Maunkl in the early 20th century, many scholars have contended that this psalm is a text of a New Year ritual on the model of an annual Babylonian rite of coronation for the god Marduk, in which God was crowned. It must be said that the existence of an actual ritual of this sort is mere conjecture, and the psalm could simply be a symbolic celebration through song, the idea that God reigns supreme over all. This is precisely how this psalm came to be used in subsequent Jewish tradition in the New Year liturgy.
Well, that would make sense. I mean, both kind of make sense, but I guess we'll read it and we'll have our opinions.
Yes.
He subdued peoples under us and nations under our feet. He chose our heritage for us, the pride of Jacob, whom he loves, Selah. God has gone up with a shout. The Lord, with the sound of a trumpet, sings praises to God. Sing praises to God. Sing praises.
So, yeah, these things were used for coronation ceremonies.
Sure. Sing praises to our King. Sing praises. For God is the King of all the earth. Sing praises with a psalm. Man, whoever wrote this was not creative.
So the part that says sing praises with a psalm, Alter says joyous song. The Hebrew term here is maskil, the word that appears in several of the superscripts to individual psalms. The inference that it refers in particular to joyous song is drawn from the way it may be used in Amos 5:13.
Yes, my note does have Hebrew maskil, so it's interesting that they translate it this way.
Yes.
God reigns over the nations. God sits on his holy throne. The princes of the peoples gather as the people of the God of Abraham. For the shields of the earth belong to God. He is highly exalted.
The Hebrew here uses a passive verb, na'ala. Literally, he has gone up in an adjectival sense. For much exalted is he, or he is exalted. right? The verb exhibits the same roots, il or h, detectable in the adjective elyon, most high, in verse 3. Also, as to that little bit about Babylonian ritual earlier, Eerdman says, much has been written on the possible cultic and historic setting of Psalm 47 and the other so-called enthronement psalms, Psalm 93, Psalm 96 through 99. One of the most popular hypotheses is that Psalm 47 is related to a New Year festival in which the Lord was acclaimed king in a way akin to that which the Babylonian god Marduk was enthroned each year during the autumn festival. Another approach is to interpret the psalm eschatologically, describing God's future role. Still, other scholars propose a variety of specific historic situations during which Israel achieved military victories as settings for Psalm 47. However, all these hypotheses and proposals are far from convincing, and there is no direct indication of the psalm itself about its historic or cultic setting. If I were to speculate about its setting, I would opt for the exilic/post-exilic period. It was during that time that the people of God were disillusioned by their kings and monarchy and acclaimed the Lord as the universal and eternal king.
I think it would make more sense in a post-exilic period because, he subdued peoples under us and nations under our feet.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it would make more sense there. But either way.
With all that being said, we have finished
the reading for today.
the reading for today.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the second book of Psalms? Better than the first?
Honestly, I think so.
Yeah, second book is definitely better.
Yeah, definitely better so far. It's much more enjoyable for some reason. I can't even tell you why exactly. It just
About
is.
parties and weddings.
I mean, it had a wedding. There was a wedding, and as we know, Vince McMahon loves weddings. So, for anyone that got that, you're welcome. But yeah, it's a lot better than the steadfast love kind of stuff. This one is a lot more theodicy stuff.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's Korah-ic.
Yeah, I guess they're just better writers.
Better writers.
Yeah.
Explains why the other people killed him.
All right. Well, that's the end of the show for today. Let's do some quick shilling here. Share the stream, share the videos, like, subscribe. That stuff helps us a lot.
Go to our Teespring,
the
where
engagement.
on you can receive 10%
Yes,
off
10%
by
off.
using the promo code, all caps,
Look. No.
LOOK.
There you go.
Chris needed that.
Yeah.
I did not
He
need that.
he typed
I pressed
3 L's in a row.
Yeah, I saw that. I went, no, I knew it. I can fix my own mistakes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The old promo code BEHOLD for 20%
gone. It's
off.
gone forever.
Gone. It's gone. That was a holiday thing. But look, we have it sloppy seconds. Look.
Exactly. So all the engagement really helps us out. So commenting and clicking like or dislike, we don't really care.
Yeah, the more that you guys talk in that little chat box there, the better.
Yeah.
Also, one behold today.
Yeah,
One
we got one
behold.
behold today. We also have our wish list, Amazon wish list. Link is in the description.
And of course, our Patreon.
Our Patreon as well. You can get a lot of cool stuff on Patreon. Pretty much exclusively our rewards there. That's the cool stuff you can get. So if you're going to Patreon, it has to be us. There is no other. There's no other creator on Patreon. It's just us.
Just
and
us.
if you go there, you have to.
Yes. Do we have the See You Next Friday logo thing up
No,
No.
never yet.
yet? Wow.
Okay.
I'm gonna get Richard in.
What else is
on
there?
that.
Facebook and Twitter. Yeah.
And Facebook, Twitter. I believe in you, Chris. I believe that you can navigate your way through an image modification program.
Yeah. Well, I'll have some doubt. We'll
Even
see.
like the
Here's the
one
See You
that's
Next
built
Sunday
into
one again. Here it is.
Windows
All right.
10.
Well, anyways, so should we say see you on Friday or just
Yeah, see you on Friday.
All right.
See you
Fine,
on
we'll see you on
Friday.
Friday, everybody.